call this December 8th, 2020. Oh, all right.
You're good.
We call this December 8th, 2020 City of Bradford Board of Health meeting to order. Somebody want to take the roll call?
Councilman Mantle.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Cora.
Here.
Palmer.
She's excused.
Mayor McDonald.
Here.
President,
Yes.
before we begin, first I'd like to, this was at my assistance that we're having this meeting. I want to thank Dan, Mike, the other Mike, both Mikes, Mark, and Kevin. It's in reference to the one property we're going to be working, addressing on South Avenue. As you know, it was a complaint. We were not able to access it. It was a owner-occupied property. They would not let us in, but there was enough issues outside that we were able to do a condemnation. They were evicted, and then when we did actually enter the property, we found deplorable conditions. And when they reported that to me, I insisted that we have this meeting to address this issue. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Brad.
Yes. I assume all of you have had an opportunity to review the minutes from the October 27th, 2020 meeting. If so, I'll accept the motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Mantle.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Cora.
Yes.
Palmer. Mayor McDonald.
Yes. Under correspondence, we did receive an appeal from a property that was discussed at the last meeting, 50 High Street, from Kimberly Brown. That letter was dated November 23rd, and it states, I would like to request an extension of time to go over my options of the above mentioned property and request an appeal hearing. I have had lengthy discussions with Dan Lang, Mike Schreiber, and Mike Cleveland regarding this property. I am requesting this extension due to the recent passing of my husband, John, and not being aware of the problem at this property. My husband has been in treatment of 2 types of cancer since 2017 at UPMC Hellman's Cancer Center and UPMC Shadyside Hospital, Pittsburgh, PA. His care and treatment for his cancers became critical in the spring of 2020, along with the COVID-19 pandemic being placed upon everyone. It was very limited on what we and others could do during this time period. I stayed at Shadyside Family House during his hospitalizations and followed COVID-19 protocol. Upon returning to Bradford, my husband was in hospice care at our current home, and I and my family took round-the-clock care of him along with services of VNA until the time of his death. Since that time, I am trying to get the repairs to the property to prevent any further damages. Thank you for your consideration. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. So, I guess my thought on this would be to give her an opportunity to address the Board of Health, to discuss in person and address the concerns at the property. But refresh my memory, Mike, the issues at the property, had we determined that they were beyond repair, or you want to just re-summarize that if you remember?
The property is in very poor condition. There is a hole in the roof. There has been water entering the structure. I have been unable to get in the structure. It is very well secured. However, from looking in the windows, I can see that it's more of a storage facility than it is a house. Nobody's lived there in years. And the property came before the board 10 years ago. And at that time, she appealed. The board allowed her to do some repairs to satisfy them, and they dropped the order at that time. And since that time, they've done nothing, and the property has deteriorated to the point where it is today.
Okay. All right. I mean, are we aware of Ms. Brown enough to know like what needs to be done there? Do do we believe that she has the wherewithal to make the repairs needed, or do we have an opinion on that?
In my discussions with her, she does not have the finances available to deal with this order, either by fixing the house or demolishing the house, either way.
Okay, all right. And looking at the calendar, the other Mike, we have a Board of Health meeting set for the second meeting of this, when is our next Board of Health meeting? We don't have it set at this point, do we? All right,
Because I think we're running up against funding for any properties.
all right. All right, and Dan, what is your opinion, where you request when we get a request for an appeal, the appeal has to be heard, correct?
I would think so, yeah. But if you had a true appeal hearing, it would be basically a representation of the evidence, for the board to make a new finding, with her having an opportunity to be present and present any information she has about what's been done in the meantime, which I don't know if there's anything right now, or what her plan is moving forward. In theory, you could have her come in, I think, and meet with the board to establish a plan, in hopes of not having the appeal move forward, but I think that would be if it was somebody who anticipated rehabilitating the property and not having to knock it down in the end.
Okay.
I'm not sure how fruitful, but, you know, it's not my decision, but I'm not sure how fruitful her plans could be. So you have to keep that in mind too.
But keeping within the procedures of the Board of Health, she has the right to have an appeal and appear before us, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I'd just like to add one thing to that. And unfortunately, I don't have them in front of me. The Board of Health regulations state during the appeal, she's supposed to present the challenges that were laid out in the appeal to the board. By reading her paperwork, she is not challenging anything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing to be challenged in the appeal itself. She's just, and I kind of question the way the first sentence is worded. She's requesting either more time to fix the property or more time to decide if she wants to request an appeal. That's kind of the way it's worded, is an extension of time to go over her options and request an appeal hearing. So the wording there is kind of weird as to exactly what she's requesting.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that said, she's not challenging the order. And in fact, from reading this, she's agreeing 100% with the order. She just wants more than the 30 days the order is allowing her to bring the house into compliance.
Right. Yep. So I guess my thought is, if we have the appeal hearing, we want to make sure that she understands this is what's needed. Listed out for her, A, B, C, D, and E, and see what her thoughts are. See if she's able to deal with it. If she feels that she's going to be able to deal with it in an appropriate amount of time, and if not, then I guess we have to make that decision at that point and take the appropriate action. But I'm thinking when somebody writes a letter like this, it sounds like at this point we probably should schedule the appeal here.
I was just looking for an alternative to deal with that without the added cost of the appeal hearing.
Yep. And what might you suggest?
And I really don't know. I would leave that up to the attorneys as to what we can and can't do without violating her rights and still allowing her due process.
May I make a suggestion? We did set a little precedence, although it was a different situation, and President Pecora and I spoke about this earlier, with the Quick property up on Summer Street. I think we did have a meeting with him without it was not a, how do I wanna put it, a formal appeal. And went through all the things, and we kinda gave him a timeline, and then we did have a formal appeal, and he paid for the stenographer. Since in the past, we have given people, this particular incident, we have given a person extended time. It might be in our best interest, and I'll leave that up to both legal minds, whether that's the way to do this. To have an informal meeting, we could even have it at a Board of Health meeting, give her time to present her case, and then, I'm just throwing that out there.
You could do it, I would probably have your, like, let's say you schedule your appeal hearing 2 months out at a meeting, or 3 months out at a meeting, and then invite her a month before to have kinda like a pre-hearing discussion, you can call it, or something like that.
And that was one of my questions, Dan, was when we receive these appeals, are we under any time of time constraint or time limit that we have to set up that appeal hearing?
I don't know that, I'd have to go back and look at
Okay.
the regs, I don't believe there's a timeline
Okay.
on it. Have to be within reason, but
But, yeah,
I'm not.
but not to use it as an excuse, but these are unusual times with the,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And it's coming into winter time here, so some of these
right, and
outdoor
with,
repairs would be difficult to do anyways.
and not knowing what Governor Wolf and Rachel are gonna do, we, so my suggestion is, we just kinda table this.
I would schedule it for something, even if you wanna schedule her for that meeting with the board.
Okay, are you suggesting that we schedule it on the next Board of Health meeting we have in 2021?
Yeah, and at the same time, I would schedule her for an actual appeal.
Appeal, some, after the Board of Health meeting, okay.
And what you're saying is that the appeal, can be informal, or you're saying that it should be formal?
I think it should be formal, but
Okay,
if you wanna try to see if it can't be negotiated in advance, then I'd say schedule them at the same time. Send the scheduling notice at the same time with 2 different dates.
okay,
So you kind of have it as like a procedure on your way to your appeal hearing, like,
Yep.
we're gonna sit down and talk, hear from you, so
Yep.
that we can plan out our appeal, it's almost like a pre-hearing conference kind of thing.
so why don't we go ahead and, why don't we try to set that up, the informal meeting, with Ms. Brown before the next Board of Health meeting?
Okay, but we don't have a Board of Health meeting yet.
So, I think what Tim's suggesting is, we'll be scheduling in 2021. So,
At some point,
at some point in 2021, we'll.
Yep.
So
what
let's
if
make
it's
sure
like
that
July?
on that first one, we'll just make sure that's when we do it, whenever
So,
the first one
yeah.
is.
You can always set a meeting for today, I would assume,
Yeah,
and say 90 days, whatever that would work out to, a council meet, first or second council meeting in March. And if you meet with her, there's no need for the appeal, she'll withdraw her need, and if there's no other need for the board to meet, then you just cancel the meeting.
Yeah.
And that would just be my suggestion.
So set something up for like March, you're saying?
Yeah.
Right.
That was
Okay.
it.
and I'm actually gonna suggest that in order to, now that we're back to the point of meeting regularly, I'm gonna suggest actually the second week, or the second council meeting in January 26th. So that'll be roughly about a month and a half. And if that ends up being the only item on the agenda, then so be it.
Okay.
And if something else comes up, then we'll go ahead and put
Handle
it on the
that.
agenda. But I just think
Is that gonna give time to meet with her in this informal process? and
Well-
schedule the appeal,
That-
and,
that's gonna
If I'm
be-
understanding Dan correctly, we can set that up before the Board of Health meeting, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying 126 is gonna be just the meeting with her, or you want that to be the appeal hearing date?
So I'm saying on January 26th, I'd like to see that to be the informal meeting with
Okay.
her. And then let's tentatively set a Board of Health meeting for the 26th. If nothing ends up going onto the agenda, then
Okay, alright.
we'll push it back and just have the informal meeting with Ms. Brown.
And Dan, you will check to see if there is a time limit on appeals?
I will. yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that is correspondence. Petition and hear visitors, I don't think we have any. Old business, update on nuisance property at 109 North Center Street, 108 State Street, 57 School Street, and 10 William Street.
So 109 North Center, 108 State Street, and 10 William Street all got caught up in the C-19 on the green cards from the Postal Service. So those three are gonna have to have legal ads, run. 57 School Street, we got all the green cards back that were signed, so we'll be able to perfect that file soon.
Okay, great. And status of 144 West Washington Street and 19 Miller Street.
Those are from our August meeting, and we did have to do the legal ads, they've been done, the time has run out, no appeals were filed, those files were perfected this evening, and Mike will be sending them down to, the city
Okay, good,
shortly.
great. And then lastly, 298 East Main Street.
That was the property that had the tax sale shortly after, we declared it a public nuisance, and the deed still has not been recorded with the new owner. Although I do see, and Mike saw, that the guy's been doing, whoever the new owner is, has been doing some improvements. I think that front roof that was part of the problem is no longer there. So by the time we find him, some of this might have been resolved, hopefully.
Okay. All right, and this one we felt that was beyond repair, or this one we felt was,
This one, the main issue that property maintenance brought to me for was the fact that the front porch was collapsing, and, that's been addressed. There are still other issues with the property, but the main issue was that front porch.
okay. All right. So there's actually a chance that this one actually might be repaired?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And lastly, new business, the property at 115 South Avenue.
Yes, we have a new property, one to go over tonight, so, as with past hearings, I have some photographs I'll ask you guys to look at while we're going. They're marked A1 through A15, and I'll explain how we moved later. Mr. Cleveland, are you familiar with property at 115 South Avenue?
Yes.
And who owns that property to your knowledge?
Lori and Scott Bedco.
Okay. And did you take those photographs that I just handed forward?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember what day you took them on?
I believe it was November 11th.
Okay. And what generally is shown in those pictures that were handed forward?
The majority of them are the interior of the house and the poor conditions inside the house. There are also some photos of the exterior, the deteriorating roof, holes in the roof, and just the overall unkept condition of the house.
Did I see in some of them that there were loose wires on the exterior as well?
Yes, the service entrance cable, I'm not sure where it goes. I believe it's to the main portion of the house, is very deteriorated and dangerous.
Okay. You said around the middle of November, correct?
Yes.
to your knowledge, between then and now, has anything changed with the property?
No.
Okay, are the pictures a fair representation of how the property would look today?
Actually, they're probably not as bad as it truly is.
Okay. Fair enough. I would ask that A1 through A15 be admitted into notice record. Okay. Do you have reason to believe that 115 South Avenue is a public nuisance?
Yes.
And why is that?
In addition to the poor condition of the house and the ongoing deterioration because it's not being fixed and there's water entry into the house from the rain and the poor roof, there has been a significant cat issue in the house. I'm not even sure how many cats. The police department has taken cats out of there. There's still cats in there. There were at least 4 of them in there the day I took pictures. And the cats have just defecated, urinated everywhere throughout the house. All the interior surfaces are saturated with that. And I'm very concerned that once winter's gone and things start warming up, we may have a true health issue with that house in the neighborhood to the point where we will need to step in and do an emergency demolition. At this point, with the weather the way it is, I think we're good if we get the cats out of there. Another issue that could come up if we do get the cats out of there, there's significant amounts of cat food in there that might bring other vectors into the house if the cats are gone. So at this point, it's kind of an unknown what's going to happen with it, but it is definitely going to be a priority in the near future that we do something with it.
Is the property vacant at this time?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to review the proposed Board of Health order for this property?
Yes.
Is everything in that order accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Is there anything else you would like the board to know about the property?
No.
You guys have any questions? I'll open it up to you.
Hey, Mike, along the way, did you have any conversations with the owners as to like if they were planning on cleaning it up at all, or?
I have not.
Okay.
I do know that finances have gotten in their way. That's one of the reasons we were finally able to get into the house is they couldn't pay their water bill and the water got shut off. But we've been interested in that house dating back to 2011, and due to their constitutional rights, we've never been able to get into the house. We've never quite had enough evidence to be able to obtain a warrant to get in.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yes.
I'm looking at this one picture here, and there's a space heater, and it's on.
Yes.
The gas was still on?
The gas is on. It was probably 80 degrees inside the house that day, which made things even worse. I didn't see any immediate fire hazards, or I would have shut it off. That is the sole source of heat for the house, from what I can tell,
Are you
which
serious?
is also illegal.
That's a 2-story house.
Actually 3. The basement's an apartment.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? No? All right. I think it's appropriate that I entertain a motion to declare the property at 115 South Avenue a public nuisance.
So moved?
Second?
Councilman Mandel,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Sikora,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Mayor McDonald.
Yes.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved?
Second.
Councilman Mandel,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Sikora,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Mayor McDonald.
Yes.